Good morning, YouTube. My name is Bro, and it's a rare late video, but I was actually watching some Mighty Number 9 gameplay, so we're going to talk about UtaPri, though. So, if you'll indulge me, we're going to get out the discussion on. Ready? So, what I want to talk about with UtaPri, specifically, is I want to talk about Haruka, but I also want to talk about, does she, in the anime, really need to end up with anybody by the end of the show? Here's my answer. No. That's what the games are for. Then you can have her end up with whoever you want. But I'm going to tell you why I say, no, she doesn't need to end up with anybody. This is going to be tricky. But hear me out on this. So, we've got, what, 18 potential idols. We have 7 from Starish, 4 from Quartet Night, and 7 from Heavens. We've got 18. And we're focusing on those 18 because the teachers haven't shown any form of interest in Haruka as a love interest, because they follow the contract. They follow the rule that it is no love allowed, at least in the anime. So, we're removing them from the equation. People have said they don't want to see Heavens end up with Haruka, or specifically, they don't want to see any of them become attracted to her as a love interest. I'd be fine with that, actually. And I'm a huge Heavens fan. I'm probably a bigger Heavens fan and Quartet Night fan, and I've said this openly, than I am a Starish fan. And I've gotten a lot of crap for that, trust me. So, where I come out on this whole thing is this. If it were to end up by the end of this season, where Haruka is contracted to work for both agencies and help all 3 groups grow individually and as one group, cool. Do that. Do that universe. Do that storyline. I'd be down with that in a minute. I have a feeling it's not going to end up that way. I have a feeling it's going to end up with Starish as number 1. I would rather not see that, though. Here's why. Unless Shining's voice actor is going to be retiring or stopping with UtaPri after this season, there's a lot of mileage still to be had in these 3 groups having their battle. Do you see what I'm saying? And the one linchpin, the one connecting thread to the whole thing is Haruka. Haruka works for Shining currently, exclusively. But remember, she's wrote every song that has been performed for Triple S. She's wrote, Modular Revolutions. She wrote Evolution Eve. She wrote Heaven's Gate. If you keep the narrative that she is the composer for all 3 groups, then inevitably what's got to happen is she's got to work with Heavens in some capacity. She has to work still with Quartet Night and with Starish, but she has to work with Heavens at some point. Now, this brings up this. Okay, if they did a season where she worked with Heavens, wouldn't they have to write it where they could potentially be love interests? No, because here's the thing. Maybe to me, I saw it differently, but when they did the Quartet Night episodes for Revolutions, they didn't necessarily come off as love interests. If anything, in a weird way, they came off as more teachers or family members. Well, except for maybe Ray J may be the wild card. But I'll explain the other three. Okay, I'm Mackay really has no concept of what love is because I is an android. Okay? Rimuru, at the end of season 2, when Ecchi was dealing with Haruka, kind of gave the back off or I'll beat the hell out of you. That's my sister you're dealing with. Look, you know what I'm saying? And when he was kind of talking with Haruka in his episode, he was more or less chatting with her, not like he wanted to date her, but kind of almost like a brother sister thing. To me, that's the way it came off a little bit. I thought that was cool. Kano. Goddamn, I love this character. As much of a dick as he can be, he was honestly, in a weird way, teaching Haruka more about, if you think about it, how two-faced people can be in the idol industry, because remember, he has the two sides to himself. And also, he was teaching her about really how busy an idol's life can be. Not like she didn't already know that, but seeing the way his schedule is really makes her go, oh shit. And now she can be even more prepared for it. Do you see what I'm saying? So they really taught her. They were pretty much her master class for the series so far. Now, if she wanted to, and if she had to, not necessarily graduate, but work with Heavens, she can take those lessons and move them on over to those 7 young men and help them out. Help them through. Do you get what I'm saying? And help them through the potential ringer, and help them also to grow, not just be one-dimensional characters that we know jack squat about. Because I think one of the arguments that people will use when they say they don't like Heavens, which is fair, is we don't know anything about them. The only one we know anything about currently is Ecchi. He's the son of Raging. Okay, cool. We have to learn now about the other 6 members. And that would require at least them to get their own season, or they would have to do something in the coming season where Haruka's working with both them and Stutterish when they do their rival season. Do you see what I'm saying? But what I also think is they don't need to do the rival season yet. They don't. Because doing that, I feel, would still weaken Heavens' character more than it would help them. Here's why. If you watch season 3, we had a bit of an issue, I think. You had Quartet Night episodes, but they were always going to be, I don't want to say handcuffed, but they were always going to be associated in some way with Starish members. Keep this in mind, the Starish members wanted to beat Quartet Night to get to Triple S. Keep that in mind. Thinking about this, okay, what do we have is we have a situation where we were learning little bits about the Quartet Night characters, save for Camus. That was interesting, by the way. They specifically did 3 episodes that told you a little bit about each one of the Quartet Night members, with Ray J, Ranmaru, and I, but they didn't do Camus. Why not? Even I don't know that one. And here's the thing that really, 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 really makes me kind of angry. This could have been and should have been, in many respects, Quartet Night season that happened, right? Because it's been shown, see Diabolic Lovers, that you can do a season with 4 people. You can still have the main group, quote unquote, but for the most part, they are the ones on the sidelines, and the group that is focused on would have been Quartet Night, and just like the Mukamis were in More Blood. Well, they didn't do that. So what ended up happening was we got basically 4 episodes that were devoted to each one of those characters, but they still had in some way the crutch of their juniors or junior. And that was a problem. If you're going to do the season with Heavens, and they should, by the way, you cannot make this mistake again. Heavens must be the sole focus. Stars must be nowhere near it, because doing that from a writing standpoint would specifically weaken them as characters. If you want to do another Stars season, cool. And if you want to do it with Heavens, fine, but let Heavens get established first. That's been the problem. And that's like the one thing that blows my mind when I'm listening to people, when I've listened to people in the past talk about the fact that they don't want to see Heavens around. They want to see them get beat early, or they want to see them just as background characters. They were background characters. They were background characters pretty much, if you think about it, from season 2, in the second half of season 2, and they were background characters in pretty much all of season 3. They've been in the background. It's their time to be in the forefront. Let them have this season to themselves. Then, the next season, you can do another Stars season, and then you can do the build-up. Do you see what I'm saying? You can do the blow-off in the final season. If you actually have to have somebody lose. But I still think it would be better if all 3 groups are shown as equals and no group actually is superior. And I think it would be even better if it was found out by the end that Quartet Night, Starish, and Heavens are under one label now. And they all have to work together. Or, if Quartet Night eventually has to bow out, Starish can take Heavens under their wing, and then Heavens can maybe eventually become the new group that is focused in the UtaPri universe, which I think is going to happen eventually. I've said this. I think that the way UtaPri is setting up, it's going to be a really weird transition period. We are going to get a season where it's a weird kind of handoff. It goes from Starish to Heavens, and then the next set of games will be out for that group. Because I don't think Broccoli is stupid enough to get rid of this franchise. I just don't. Between Broccoli and King, if you look at the last season's CD sales, look who had, granted it was only for a day, but look who had the #1 single as far as male solo artists. Mamoru Mayano with Shine. Look who made the top 2 and 3 at different points in the daily singles charts. It was UtaPri singles. Think about that for a second. That is what is so funny. And I have heard people time and time again say, this should be the last season of UtaPri. They were saying that all last season. They'll probably say it this season. But the problem is, it's not going to happen. Broccoli and King, I feel, have way too much invested in this franchise. Look at all the artists that they have between the two of them in some way, shape, or form. Okay? Look at all of them. And, okay, granted, some of them work for Landis, but still, look at all of these. Look at all these artists. You're gonna tell me that UtaPri is gonna end this season, or in 2018, or in 2020? It may not end for another 20 years. There is too much money sitting out there. UtaPri had, for a good portion of the year, the #1 anime, #1 selling anime DVD and Blu-ray. It was kicking the shit out of Kuroko's Basketball, when at one point it was doing 3 times the sales as Kuroko's Basketball. Think about that. UtaPri's not going away. So, if you have to end the rivalry between these groups, fine. But the way you end it is you prove they're all equal. That's what you do. You do not blow off or wipe out or fade away, or whatever term you want to use, Heavens, because Heavens is going to be your next group. Heavens is going to be a very important part of UtaPri, and I feel in my gut and in my heart that if it comes down to it, we are going to see Heavens merch, and it will sell just as well as Starish and Scourge at Night. And I bet you when we get a Heavens single, an actual Heavens single, it'll sell just as well. If you don't believe me, let's see what happens. I'll bet you anything we get a very nice surprise at the end of it all. But again, like I said, what I see as far as the future of UtaPri, if we have to end the series, I think it's going to be a very interesting ending, because I think it's going to end up somehow with Haruka saying she's not interested in anybody as far as a soulmate, but she's willing to work with all 3 groups to make them all the best in the world. Let me know what y'all think, because this was just something I was thinking about, and yeah, what the hell? Gave me 20 minutes to kill. Y'all have a good night, and I'll talk to you later, and maybe next time I'll talk to you what I think about my number 9 from what I've seen. Later days.